Hello, hello again for some of you, like Tish and B, and hello for all the other one which are just coming now. I did a tour before in Montmartre, so some of you were already with me, and this is the second tour of the day, and finish the highlights of Montmartre, finish the beautiful stories about painters and chocolate and whatever. Now speaking about the dark side of Paris and the dark side of Montmartre, we are in the cemetery of Montmartre. So welcome to all of you. So don't think the rain has stopped, just think I'm protected at that time. That's why you see I'm under that. So that's why you think it's not raining, but I'm going to reopen my umbrella in a couple. No, I haven't found gloves. Gloves are at home, so no gloves. And you see, I'm going to have to go to the rainy part for you. So we're going to do the tour. We're going to start immediately because due to the rain, they are going to close the cemetery 15 minutes before the normal time. So they are going to close by 1:45. So we have to hurry up because the weather conditions are not good. And the guards of the cemetery, which are civil servants, they don't want to make overtime. So they want people leave by 1:45 to be sure that all the gates are closed at 5. So I don't want to stay here for the night. So we're going to start right now. Okay, my friend? I reopen my umbrella. You see? Ready? So welcome to the Cemetery of Montmartre. Cemetery of Montmartre is one of the 4 cemeteries. Okay, oh sorry. If some of you are new with me, my name is Patrick. I'm tour guide in Paris, and I've been streaming on Heygo for more than 1 year and a half to be completely true. I'm doing lots of tours, and lots of you love the cemeteries. So I do 3 tours in Père Lachaise, and now I propose you also to do a tour in the other cemeteries of Paris. That in fact we have got all together 4 important cemeteries in Paris: one in the north, one in the west, one in the south, one in the east. The one from Père Lachaise is the one from the east, the one from Passy from the west, the one from Montparnasse the south, and the one from Montmartre, the North Cemetery of Paris, opened in 1825, a bit more than 20,000 graves, so smaller than the Père Lachaise, which is counting altogether 70,000 graves. But very interesting, and lots of very famous people also are buried here, and that's what we are going to try to discover together. Yes, there was a funerals today. Every day there is funerals, so that was a group of people who came from the funerals. So look here, Fragonard. Maybe you know Fragonard. He is a perfumer, and he was fut. This is the past tense, so has been. Not anymore. You see, they move the grape to grass. So in fact, we just have the plaque. But just behind that, I go by some staircase to show you one of the grave. Also very interesting because it's not a grave, properly speaking. It's a cenotaph. What is a cenotaph? And that the cenotaph of one of my favorite, maybe my favorite writers, with Jules Verne. Also, I love Jules Verne and Victor Hugo. But that one is also one of my top 5 writers. Do you know who is he? You recognize him? J'accuse, the writer from the people, the writers of Germinal, the writers of Zola. Yes, Bridget. Émile Zola. So you see, we start with somebody very, very famous, Émile Zola. And that is not a grave. Hey, Stefan, this is a cenotaph. So do you know what a cenotaph is? I'm going to explain you that during the time we walk. But just I want to show you where I was protecting myself before the tour. We built a cemetery here, but that cemetery was completely blocking the traffic. We couldn't go from Clichy, from the north of Paris to the center of Paris. So they decided once to build a bridge into the cemetery. You can believe that? Look, so you see here in front of us, we've got a bridge. And the bridge is inside the cemetery. So the bridge is splitting the cemetery into quite Strange, no? So of course, lots of people which were, but not the one which were buried, okay? But the family of the one which were buried were complaining. How do you dare to put a bridge? How you see? It's incredible. Look, we have got the bridge into the cemetery. Yes, Bridget, nobody, absolutely. The cenotaph means there is nobody. In fact, Emile Zola has been transferred to the Pantheon because he has been, wanted to be the French people wanted him to be honored as one of the most important of France. So his dead bodies has been transferred to the Pantheon, and we just kept here the grave that he used to have before, that means a cenotaph. So you're going to see in this cemetery lots of different types of grave. Some are kind of majestic. Don't look at that. Oh, sorry. Oh, la 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 la. What am I showing you? I have to put my finger here. A part of that, you're going to say that Patrick is showing you kind of pornography. So don't look at that, okay? Okay. And we have got very famous people in that cemetery. And I want to show you a small grave, a very small grave, but a grave of somebody that I like a lot. Somebody who is representing Montmartre, somebody who is part of the legend of Montmartre. Do you know that lady? Louise Weber? She's La Goulue, the lady who created the French cancan, the first French cancan dancer from the Moulin Rouge. That's her graves. That's where she's buried now. When she was young, when she died, that's when she was young. But at the origin, the grave was a very small grave in a very small cemetery in the north of Paris. But finally, people said this is completely unfair because she was completely poor, that she is not close to the Moulin Rouge. So finally, they transfer the graves and they put a very simple grave here. But this is where is Louise Weber, and that was an incredible lady. And it's her who invented the cancan. But if you like that, I do a story about Louise Weber, and this is a tour from home, and it's a complete tour. But that's another story. So we walk now in that cemetery. This cemetery is divided like the cemetery of, like the cemetery of Père Lachaise in division. So you see, you have got division, means kind of district. So you know where the people are buried. You see here 30 division, 31st division. So when you look at a grave, you go to you look for the division where they are buried, and then you you have to be Sherlock Holmes because you have to find the grave, which is not very easy to find it sometimes. And of course, in that cemetery, as it's how can I say, it's a little bit different than the Père Lachaise. There is less famous people, but there is some of the grave here that I think are very, very moving, and lots of grave also from singer. Do you know a couple of French singers which are named Michel Berger and France Gall? They were singers from the 60s to the 20s, and they were a very nice couple of singers, and they are buried together here with their daughters. And I want to show you the grave of these two singers because even if you don't know them, Michel Berger and France Gall, even if you don't know them, the grave by itself is very famous. So when we visit the cemetery, I just repeat to you, like in Père Lachaise, that the cemetery in France, you buy, you pay for a place to be buried, and you pay that for 99 years. After 99 years, if nobody is paying for another 99 years, they leave you 5 years to find a heirs which is going to pay for that. And if nobody pay for it, then they're going to remove your grave to a common place, in fosse commune. So a part of that. So you see, some of the graves are going to be very simple, and some of the graves are going to be quite like little chapel and quite like a huge place. And so I wanted to arrive to this place of Michel Berger and France Gall. So sorry, it's because it's raining. It's not the best condition to show you the cemetery, but also it's a little bit spooky doing that by the rain. So this is the grave of Michel Berger and France Gall, and I love it with the you see. Of course, it's not a real one, but it's like a cherry cherry tree with cherry blossom, white and pink flowers. And you see, and they sign the name, and you see Michel Berger and his daughter Pauline Hamburger and Franz Gall, and that was the couple and the daughter, and that the graves of them, which is a very different one. You see, because it's done with glass. You see, it's a window. It's very modern and completely different from the grave you have got around the centuries. But it's very nice. And you also have got, of course, in that cemetery, you also have got a mix between Christian and Jewish graves. You see, just next to that, you have got a Jewish grave, okay? And you can realize it's a Jewish grave because you see, by the tradition, when the people comes, they put a little stone to say we passed to say hello to you. So these stones, in fact, are just a little tribute of the people who came here to give the tribute to the people who are buried here. So this is typical from the on the Jewish grave. So we have got a Jewish corner. Um, no, sorry, I said no to Sarah. Um, I mean, not a real no, but yes and no. These cemeteries, you can be buried if you are in the neighborhood. So it's like that for all the Parisian cemetery. You've got 4 cemeteries in Paris, as I said, the north, the east, the west, and the south. So if you are living in the north of Paris, so in the neighborhood of Montmartre and the district of the North District of Paris, meaning 17th, 18th, 19th, and 10th, in that case, you can be buried in that cemetery and you don't need to be somebody famous. Then, if you are not living from here, you are linked from here, or you are somebody famous who wants to be buried here, then yes, you are going to get an exception. So it means if myself I'm living in the west part of Paris, so this is not a good cemetery. Okay, so it's really linked to that. Linked to that. So you've got some hero, you've got some very famous people, but you also have got some very simple, non-famous people which are living in the cemeteries. And of course, as all in the cemeteries, you see, you have got some things which are very, very big, very, they want to remember. We call it a chapel. You see, like that one in front of us. And then next to that, you have got some very simple graves. Of course, the people are paying for the graves. So you pay to the cemetery, which is the cemetery is part of the city of Paris. So you pay to the cemetery for the space, and then you pay what you can for the graves itself. I mean, for the decoration and the graves. So you see, as we are in Montmartre, we have got staircase, even in the cemetery. Have to be careful because the staircase are very slippery with the rain. So have to be careful not to fall down inside the cemetery. That will be a very stupid thing to do. And also the cemetery have got something like 800 trees. It's like the Père Lachaise. You know, these cemeteries looks a bit like a forest. You see, you feel like being in a garden in the middle of Paris. Love how the one I'm attracted. Yes. They still have got some space. And as I said, when somebody is not paying for the grave, in that case, they take out the grave and they are going to leave an empty space for somebody else. So some graves are very old, and so due to that, they take them out. You see, for instance, look here. You've got a space here. You see, here in between these 2 graves, here there is a free space, so you can add a new grave. Here the same. You see, you have got space. Maybe there is a stone, so maybe, and you see some graves are not at all looked after. Look, these 2 graves. This is not normal. I mean, this is not the way to decorate the graves. It's just because the people here have no heirs. They have nobody who looks after the graves. So in fact, you see, the nature is coming back to the graves because the cemetery is not looking after the graves. You have to do that by yourself, or you have to pay somebody to do that. Yes, you buy 99 years, what we call the concession. So you see here, for instance, there is an empty space again. Wow. And look that one. It's like a rock. Look that grave. Looks like a rock, no? So now I want to show you a grave of somebody who is very famous. Try to find who he is. Here it is. He's a famous dancer. And you can see him here in one of the roles that he was playing as a dancer. He's Russian. And he has been bringing the Russian ballet. Yes, KM, it's Nijinsky. Absolutely. This is the grave of Vaslav, Nijinsky. And you see, you've got an Orthodox cross. It's not a Christian cross that you have got next to the graves. Look how moving that grave. And this is the sculpting of Nijinsky. So the cost is per year, in fact. So you get a contract for 99 years, and then you have got a cost per years. Unfortunately, I had to bury my aunt 2 years ago, and so we paid something like 4,000 euro, and I paid for the 99 years. And for my father, we didn't put in a grave. My father died a couple of weeks ago, and of course, this is a little bit hard remembrance. And but my father has been incinerated, so we don't put into a grave. Can you hear the crowd? Oh, look, that's somebody who died recently. You see, you have got all the flowers because it's very recent. Somebody has been added in this grave. The cemetery is really like a park, very natural. So it's mean you can hear. You've got cats. You've got sometimes you've got dogs, and you also have got the crow. And the crow make you see that noise, which make you a little bit frightened. Moreover, when it's like that, when on a rainy day, nobody in the cemetery, raining, cold day, a little bit spooky. Yeah, that's why I didn't stream for couples of weeks. Couples of days, just to look after my mother and to look after the, what I had to do for that. Well, anyway, this is life, no? Oh yes, I would be happy to be able to change a bit the weather with some of you. So now I want to show you another famous grave from this cemetery that maybe you know him. He's a director, also a composer, a French composer who did many operette and opera. I don't know if you know him, but he's very famous for the opera and the operette he did. His name is Offenbach. And so he's the grave. He's the one here in red. Rose marble, kind of what we call it the rose marble. And this is the grave of Jack Offenbach. We see who was a famous, he was very famous in the years of the Napoleon III, during the Third Empire. And he was a very famous composer. Jack, yes, absolutely. Les Contes de Hoffmann. Very famous composer, Jack Offenbach. And you see in the grave, he's not alone. He has got some other people from his family. Never forget what you see is just a decorative place, okay? Behind that, in these cemeteries, you have got, oh look, this one is broken. So I can show you a little bit how it is, even I don't want to make it like kind of viewing things. But you see, I don't want to be too close, I don't feel like. But here, in fact, there is a hole, okay? And in the hole, you have got a kind of tunnel. And in the tunnel, you have got different space where they put all the people from the same family. So that can go from few meters under the floors. And when the grave is, they open the graves and they put new bodies inside. I don't want to go close from that, always worrying that there is a hand coming out from the graves and I don't, I just stay a little bit out of the grave. But I just show you, okay? If you want to come when you are in Paris, come there and just bring a torch lamp and just be adventurous. Don't do it with me. So then you see, look, just next to the cemetery, we are inside Paris, okay? So you see, you have got housing. You've got house around here. I'm always wondering what is to live next to a cemetery. And that every morning, when you open your windows or your shutters, you discover the graves. And when you close your shutter in the evening, you discover the graves. Well, the good point is you sure you are not going to have any body who is going to be in front of you, okay? Because the cemetery is not going to move. So that's the good point. No, the view is kept. But on the other hand, I don't know if I feel like, living and having for view the cemeteries. I don't know how I would feel about that, but I'm not sure I will be that kind of person. Yes, yes, MB. The good point is you wake up, which is not the case for the people which are inside the cemetery. But you see, you ask me for the space. You see, there is a lot of space which are empty. So let's carry on our walk. And I pass in front of a grave. I don't know if you know her. She's an American singer, and she sung with an English guy and with a French guy called Jean-Jacques Goldman. And that singer, she was a black lady who was singing incredibly well. And she's very famous in France because she made a song with Jean-Jacques Goldman. And she was named Carole Denise Fredericks. And and she made the song with Mike Jones, Jean-Jacques Goldman, and her. And that was a beautiful song which has been at the top of the charts for many times. And she wrote that sentence from Jesus in me. Jesus came to me, uncovered my desires, shown me the way life's supposed to be. My travel brings me to some places never thought I would see, and in the light of all God's faces. Remind me that He reminds me that, and da da da. What are dumpster? Yeah, she was young. Yeah. She was less than 50 when she died. Uh, what are the what are the dumpster? Garbage. Oh no, that's from the centuries, because they're going to cut when they are cutting trees and when they are cleaning the how can I say the path. Look the crow here. I don't know if you saw the crow, the big black crow. Oh look, he's here. Look at that grave. Oh my God, that's a grave. Okay, this is not a. You see, it's still a grave, but look how damaged the grave is. And the cemetery is going to close in a couple of minutes. It's going to close in 20 minutes. So that's why I'm hurrying up. Look, I don't know if you see the crowd here. There's a crowd which is looking at me. Don't look at me, crowd. No, we don't bury the urine. The funeral urines are put in a little box outside. Yes, Père Lachaise, that Jim Morrison. Yes, Jim Morrison is not in this cemetery. So I carry on my way. I've got so many things to show you. That I don't know if I. Let's see, and the cemetery is going up and down. But we still, like as I said, feel a bit like being in a park, because we walk really like if it was a garden, and it's very calm, of course, because it's cemeteries. There's some people who love, to come to the cemeteries and who love to walk in the cemeteries because they feel the serenity of the cemeteries. and it's a place of, of concentration, if I can say. And here we don't have so many bench, but in the Père Lachaise there is many bench, and in fact the people stay at the bench and they read and they do like if they were going to a garden. Yes, that's the Montmartre Cemetery. I'm climbing, going down. Cemetery is always a little bit tiring, You see here you've got big chapel. So the people which were buried here, of course, they are quite rich, because when you build a chapel like that, it means you've got money for that. A part of that, you can buy such a chapel. And so when the family is still there, in that case, of course, you can mend the chapel. You see that one is under rebuilding. It's a beautiful one because you see it has got the painting like a church. Look here. You know that graves? You know who is that painters? I spoke about the painters in my tour on Wednesday. Louise and Abella, they are in Père Lachaise. Degas, absolutely. This is the grave of Edgar Degas. And you see, we write always Degas in one word, but in fact, the real spelling of Degas, you see, this is his Edgar Degas, but you see the real spelling of Degas, he's a nobility name, so it's Degas. But we spell him because we know him under the name of Degas. So that's the grave of Edgar Degas. Would there tears down one of these big ones if you didn't pay? Yes, absolutely. Well, the cemetery, they are not bad. They keep 5 years. They try to reach somebody, and they said to, "Are you?" This is the soldiers. Kamiensky. He was a soldier from Napoleonic time, and you see his grave is like a complete statue. So yes, the cemetery is looking for you for 5 years. So they write to everybody, to the family, to everybody who may knows that person. And if after, oh my gosh, raining so much, if after 5 years nobody reply, in that case, they are going to take you out. Look at the cemetery, how big it is. And now we have to go down, so have to be careful, you see, because we have been down, then I've been up. So I don't stop going up and down in the cemeteries, sometime by the street, sometime by the path, sometime by the staircase. So now you see I'm taking some staircase to go again down. What time is it? I've got 15 minutes more before they close the cemetery, so I have to hurry up. I don't want to be kept in the cemetery. Out of question. Here it is. So now I'm in one of the big streets. And now we're going to see another very famous grave, a grave again from a French music composer. He composed very famous classical music, and his most famous classical music is the Symphony Fantastic. I don't know if you know about him. I'm going to show you his graves, and here you see some of the graves are very incredible. This is a grave of, well, you don't know him, called Guillaume, Gustave Guillaume, and you see some of the graves have got incredible sculpting on it, and then you have got a very simple grave. So you see that the charm also of the cemeteries. I mean, everybody can decide according to his money, how much they want to pay for the, 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 the monument. Okay, so some peoples are spending a lot of, and some less. Here we are in the part of the Israeli part of the cemeteries. So this is the place where we have got a lot of Jewish grave in that cemetery here. That's family Asun, which is a Jewish name. So we have got a mixed here between a Catholic and Jewish family. But that's where usually we had before the Jewish corner for these cemeteries. And here it's called Victor Brummer, and he was a modern painter. You see, look at one of his works, like upside down head. So at the corner here, we're going to find another grave. So who is the man who composed the Symphony Fantastique? You know that composer? Yes, lovely. Hector Berlioz, absolutely. So I propose that we go to look at the grave of Hector Berlioz. I mustn't miss the grave because I can't miss it, it's just in front of me. So this is the grave of Hector Berlioz, who was living more or less at the same time of Offenbach. He just died a little bit earlier than Offenbach, and he didn't do at all the little opera like Offenbach, the operette, but he did much more classical music, and he lived in Montmartre, okay? He was, if he's buried here, it's because he was an inhabitant of Montmartre. And that's a place, you see, where you can make donation. Well, it's not for me, okay? This is not the tipping thing. But that's the place where you could put money for the poor people in Paris. So in fact, if somebody wants to put money here, the money is going to be collected by the city of Paris and given back to some association which are looking at the poor people. Here you can see some David Star. So I told you this is part of the Jewish corner. Not only Jewish corner, okay? But most of the Jewish people are buried here. You see another David Star here. And you see by the name Bonkoff, you see David Star. You see the Star of David here too. So you see this is the place where we have got most of the Jewish people which are buried in the cemeteries. And let's carry on. Let's pass by here. I hope I'm not going to lose the connection when I pass here, because I'm going to take a place where I'm not going to be. I'm going to try to avoid the rain for a while. I'm going to pass by these a bit spooky tunnel. You stay with me, okay? And if you don't see any more image, call the police. Away from Hector Berlioz's grave. He passed by a bridge and we don't see him anymore. We are very worrying for him. I went out. And you see, this is the bridge of the shame. You see, the graves are under the bridge. You realize that? Building the cemetery, and after that, built a bridge. And you see, that person is not the cemetery. You see, the people over there, they are passing over the cemetery. This is not the cemetery, but it's just above the cemeteries. And that's a place for the car. Yes. You see, look, the graves are underneath. Well, at least they don't get the rain. Well, that's the only good things, no? They're protected from the rain, these graves. So now we are at the complete top part of the cemeteries, and I want to show you for last important graves. So like that, I would have done my complete tour. I would have succeeded to make it in a short time. Have been walking very quickly, in the cemeteries, and we're going to see the most famous. We're going to finish by the most famous of all the graves from the cemetery. This is houses, okay, where people are living. And we go at the complete north of the cemeteries. Well, there's bad luck for me because there is a way out here, but the way out is just open for the Holy Saint Day. That's the only time this grave is open. Look at that one. Uh, that one you see when you pass by. If you look at the eyes of the grave is looking at you. You see? I don't know if you see, but you see the eyes are looking at you. I will show you on the way back because I don't want to miss the grave because in a couple of seconds they are going to ring that thing, leave the going back to the entrance. So I don't want to be complained by the guard. So look at grave. You can start seeing lots of flowers. Who is in this grave? The most famous grave of the cemeteries. She's a singer. She born in Egypt from an Italian father. She lived and died in Montmartre. She has been the most famous and oh, lovely. You know everything about that cemetery. Have you been living here on Lin 2? Yes, my friend. This is Dalida. And this is a real size statue, which has been made by the French sculptor. Not Humbert. Oh gosh, I forgot his name. Oh, Aram. So, oh gosh, I will come back. It's just a name in four letters, and I just well, anyway, I will come back to. I will remember his name in a couple of seconds. So you see, this is the grave of Yolanda. That's her real name, Yolanda Cigliotti. This is her real name, Yolanda Cigliotti, born from Italian father in Egypt, was a queen of beauty in Egypt, black hair, crossed the Mediterranean, too much sun, arrived blonde in France. And when she arrived blonde in France, she has been the most popular and the most incredible singer from the 60s to the mid 80s. First, she started with songs like quand j'avais 18 ans. Well, I'm not going to sing for you because it's raining anyway. So, and then at the end in the 1980s, she was singing disco. Yes, il venait d'avoir 18 ans. Absolutely. Il venait d'avoir 18. She has a voice like that. Il venait d'avoir 18 ans. No. If I can get it on YouTube, I will put it for you. And you see, this is a real size grave. Real size grave. Adam. I remember the sculptor, Adam. And of course, he's very, very, how can I say, quite, you know, she's very realistic. Aslan. Sorry, Aslan. The sculptor is Aslan. No, this is part of the history of Paris and the history of France. So nobody's going to destroy that graves. And Paris, the city of Paris, is going to take care of the grave. And anyway, this is the grave who has got the most of flowers in the cemetery. Yes. So let's go back to the entrance of the cemeteries, and we can speak a little bit more when we are close from the entrance, because I don't want to be kept inside. So you see, as I said, I will show you back the famous. And look, that one looks like a fireplace, like an oven. You see, some graves are very, very. Usually, the graves are representing something from the person. So I don't know. Let me see. I don't know that graves. Who she is? Auguste Ricard de Montferrand. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that one. In fact, this is a representation. He was an architect, and this is a representation of a cathedral in St. Petersburg in Russia. And so that grave has been given by the city of St. Petersburg for the building he did about the cathedral St. Isaac in St. Petersburg. So this is the representation, the part of the cathedral St. Isaac in St. Petersburg. You see, there's so many graves, 20,000 people. We can't know everybody, no? But sometimes it's always interesting. And also here, this alley, I'm just a little bit careful because, you know, this alley, they say, at the bottom of the alley over there, they say they have seen a ghost. So there's people who are really looking after the ghost in the cemetery. So each cemetery in Paris have got stories about ghosts, and here they said they see a black woman sometime in the night. So and I would just pass by there to show you a bit this place, which is really a little bit spooky. And remember the name? Remember that one? Look, he's going to look at you all the way through. His eyes are turning and keeping you looking at you. You see that? Be careful. I'm watching you. He was an MD. So this is the place where they call a bit the haunting place of the centuries. You know that the place where we are supposed to have this lady in black haunting the cemeteries. And to be honest, yes. The oldest one are from 1825 because that cemetery started in 1825. So the people which are buried here are from 1825. And you see here, you have got the house. People are living here. So here you have got the terrace. So you have your terrace party, the barbecue, watching that the cemetery. Really, I'm not sure I will feel comfortable. You know, to have a party, drinking with friends, and imagine that you are looking at the graves. I won't feel comfortable myself. Well, anyway, that's everybody's decision. You would love it. And so you see, that's where they have the spooky corner. See, that's where they say that when you pass by this place here, when you go by this place, sometimes they say they see a lady in black coming to you by night, and they see that hunting place in the cemeteries. So I don't know myself. I've never saw any ghost here, but you know, don't feel so comfortable having a ghost. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. There is no ghost. It was just my stupid hand to make you feel a little bit frightened. But no, but really, that the place where they have got the lady coming, the black lady. I mean, not the black lady here, the black colored, but the lady in black. But you see, here the graves are very close one to one, and it's like a little maze, and you can't really walk easily here. And so the ghost hunter are really looking from here, and they are really sure that there is a ghost in this part of the cemetery. Do you hear the bells? That's to call us. That's to say we have to leave. And if you don't hear the bell, and if you don't go, you stay. So we are going to be nice person, and we are going to leave the cemeteries. Okay. Anyway, it's 45 minutes we together, so it's good timing. I'm close from the. You know, I'm not that stupid. You know, I did the tour like a loop, so like that, I'm close from the entrance. I imagine I was at the complete end of the cemetery. You start seeing me running, and you see we are just underneath the bridge of the shame. You see with the graves underneath. Quite incredible, no? Bonsoir. Je suis bien en temps, hein? C'est là qui est ouverte ou Merci. That's the guard of the cemetery. Bien respecté, hein? À la première cloche, je suis sorti. Bon courage. Merci. So, now we're back in the street. I'm going to show you the door. You see, he's closing the door, okay? So you see now the cemetery is closed, and you can't leave without the guard. So imagine you arrive here, there is no guard, the door is closed. Have a good night. And you are just dreaming because just next to the cemetery, there is a hotel. You're thinking, oh, my hotel is here. That's where I'm staying. Can you open the doors? But there is no guard. So you just stay for the night. And moreover, it's not a good idea because during the night, to avoid any troubles, they leave some dogs in the cemeteries, which are kind of dogs who are going to bite you. So, I really don't propose you to stay in the cemetery for the night. Well, you see the weather is not better, no? You hear the second bell from the cemetery? Guard doggy. Yes, guard dogs. But without the guard. So they let the dogs play. No, there's some security men during the night which are having dogs. So there is somebody in the cemeteries. But not the normal guard from the day. They are more like security guard. In the day, there are more guard who is looking after the cemeteries. Yes, plenty of bones, yes. That's not nice. No, who said that? Caroline. Mm. Oh, they're going to ring the bell 4 times. So myself, I left at the second time, you see. Then they are going to ring the bell and the cemetery is going to be completely locked exactly in 8 minutes. So really, when you hear the first bell, it means it leaves you the time to the extreme part of the cemetery to run back to the entrance. So that's the time you know. So that's why, according to the place of the cemetery where you are, you know how long time you have to go back to the cemeteries, to the entrance. So my friends, now we are out. Thank you so much to have been with me. And hope you, well, I don't know if you can enjoy a cemetery because it's maybe it's not a place to enjoy, but at least I hope you have been interested in these tours. As I told you, I'm going to redo the Père Lachaise, and I have got the Père Lachaise in 2 weeks, I think. This is New York, the Big Apple, and I'm going to do the Père Lachaise, and now I'm dividing the Père Lachaise in 3 parts. So like that, you will be able to see. Just come back on me. So you will be able to see Père Lachaise. You will be able to see new graves and new paths in the Père Lachaise. Père Lachaise is really big. You remember, 70,000 graves. And when the one we've been today is only 20,000 graves. So of course, Père Lachaise is a big one. So far I was doing 2 tours in Père Lachaise, and I'm going to add a new one, and I'm going to divide it in 3 parts. So like that, I will have also more time to speak about the grave, because sometimes I was a little bit in a hurry. Then I'm going to do the cemetery of Passy, also famous people which are buried there, and then I will do the cemetery of Montparnasse. Also famous people like our former president, Jacques Chirac, for instance, and some other people which are buried here. So like that, you will see the 4 public cemeteries. Then I would love to bring you to a cemetery which is a private cemetery. But the problem is that cemetery closed quite early. So I don't know if all of you can be there according to the time of the cemetery. So I want to see that, because that cemetery, it's a very interesting private cemetery. It's called the cemetery of Picpus. And in these cemeteries, and I said that especially for our American friends, there's somebody who is buried there who is very famous and very important for France and America, you know, who is buried there. And there is an American flag there. And that flag, even during the war, listen that, my friends, even during the Nazi occupation, the Nazi didn't dare to take out that American flag. Yes, Jeff, Lafayette. Okay, the Nazi, the only American flag in Paris during the Second World War was in the cemetery at the grave of Lafayette. And even the Nazis, they said, we can't take out Lafayette flags. He's such a man. So that cemetery is a very special cemetery, but they have got very special time opening too. And it's a paying cemetery because it's a private cemetery. So I will see if I can do once a tour and at what time I can do it. But that will be a unique thing. I'm speaking about especially one grave, the history of Mr. de Lafayette. My friends, thank you very much. Have a great time. I will see you on Monday, I guess. I think the next tour is going to be on Monday. And by the end of next week, don't forget I bring you to the Alps. I hope it's not going to snow or rain. I hope I will have good weather to show you my city in the Alps, Morzine, Avoriaz. Thank you so much for having me with me. Thank you for all your donation, of course. because that's important. And today, woo, what a weather, no? So what a condition today. So thank you so much for that. Take a great care. Have a nice weekend, and see you next week. Yes, I'm going to go back home, drink hot chocolate or something like that. I deserve it after getting all this rain on me. Look at my shoes. Look at my trouser, completely wet. Look at my hands, completely. You see, guiding is a tough job. Yes, I have got a raincoat, but take care, my friends. Bye bye.